Well, hello, my friends. Welcome back. We're going to dive into something a little bit different. And it's one heck of a way to kick off episode number 101. It's kind of like a new beginning. And I'm going to tell you it's because all of my episodes are very timely. They're reflecting what is going on right now in the world, in my life, in my clients' lives, whatever it is, it's current. And so now in October of 23, there's a lot of stuff hitting the fan. And I'm not trying to be flippant. There's wars in Ukraine and Israel, conflicts around the world, poverty and racism and environmental tragedies. And I don't mean to demean or to downplay any one of those by putting them all in one sentence. It's just to reflect that no matter who you are or where you are likely aware of some kind of significant turmoil that others are facing, and perhaps in your own life and your own family. It's devastating. And our kids are still trying to figure out their own lives in the midst of all of this. Our kids have their emotions, their own drama, normal kid drama that may not have anything to do with these big world problems. So now what? How do we address these problems that our kids have in the midst of all of this? Well, I got to tell you, a Christmas gift and a recent conversation kind of shed light on this for our family and why it's coming up in addition to everything that's going on right now in the world. A few years ago, I received a gift from my kids, unwrapped it to find a beautifully calligraphied, I think that's a verb, framed picture. And it said, and I'm reading it, "Shut up, you're fine." If you go to the YouTube video, you get to see it in first person. All right. It's lovely. It's absolutely lovely. And it hit me all at once. I was like, oh my God, they're quoting me. I had apparently said this enough times. I had said, "Shut up, you're fine" to my kids, that it was remembered as kind of like a mantra that my kids were saying that I had. Of course, I don't remember actually saying it, but I do remember things that my kids were, you know, going through back then. And I remember thinking, hey, we're safe. We've got enough to eat. My kids are in a place where they can learn. They've got freedoms. They can thrive. So, yeah, you're fine. And yet, we all had our own drama. My kids had their own struggles in the spirit of putting it all into perspective. You're fine. I disconnected from them. And they heard it loud and clear. They mementoized, I'm not sure what it is, but they made a framed calligraphy picture out of this phrase that I was saying. I wasn't open to their experiences, their emotions, their own conflicts that weren't on the other side of the world or any of their problems. And I was actually inflicting a wound upon them, one of disconnection, not hearing, seeing them for what they were experiencing, what it was that they were worried about. I was just basically making a comparison that it was nothing compared to something else. So surely it's nothing. And a recent conversation emerged, with all of these different world conflicts. And a family member said, well, the kids don't have anything to worry about. This really puts it all into perspective for them. I was like, oh boy, perhaps it puts it into perspective for us as adults, but not for the kids. I mean, even my kids now are, technically adult age, and I can't say that it puts it into perspective for them. Even my own grief and problems don't get checked just because there's some other kind of conflict somewhere else in the world. That doesn't put it into perspective. I still feel. I still am having my own experiences here. And just think about this, if this were something that was the case where, if some conflict somewhere else, someone else was having problems, and that, basically made it that ours wasn't as significant. My goodness, wouldn't we all be having the most amazing lives because someone somewhere else was having it much worse than us? So what? Ugh. So it's all like a ranking of problems and emotions and struggles. I mean, that's a trick that our brains play to try to make sense and order of the world. Our brains compare and sort and rank, and we feel. And so trying to rationalize one conflict as being more significant than another problem makes one really big mistake. And that's where it tries to create this kind of line between rationalization, thinking, and feeling. And there is no actual line there. When we do this, when we try to like make it all rationalize, I think of it as one of two things happen, and I'm sure there's more, but I think right away, where if we're trying to rationalize it instead of feel it, we focus on it even more because we try to avoid the feelings. We try to deny what's going on, and those feelings actually get stronger. Or we devalue our own experiences. We start telling ourselves that, well, this doesn't matter compared to somebody else. And when we feel, well, we're telling ourselves it doesn't matter. Oh, at its heart, this is a human issue, meaning that, it's an issue of wanting to be seen and heard and valued and to connect with others to further create meaning in the world for us. So I have told stories before, and I will do it over and over and over again. Okay. The stories of I have made mistakes and I continue to make them. I continue to make them. I continue to learn from them. It's why I keep this beautiful framed picture in my office to remind me mistakes were made. But it's also to remind me of what it is that I'm learning. And I'm learning about being open to others, to what it is that they're experiencing, to being open about what it is that I'm experiencing and feeling right now in the middle of all these other things in the world, reminding myself that we all have problems. And then just getting curious with myself and with others to understand the problems that we are experiencing right now. And I think of that as meaning that I'm trying to understand, how is this problem a problem for the individual, whether it's me, for my kids, my family, my patients, my friends, whatever it is, and what is the emotional experience that they're having. And then the other thing I'm learning is to sit with that emotion, whatever it is, to not downplay it, to not compare it, to not dismiss it. And for the love of all things good, don't gaslight. The feelings are real, and the feelings are not the problem. Oh, gosh, I want to say that again. The feelings are real. They are not the problem. Whatever it is that we're experiencing, it's real. And we can connect to understand, to share these experiences, because when we connect, oh gosh, that's the heart of the problems here. All these problems in the world is that we're all disconnected and lonely and trying to fight our way back. But if we can just connect and feel and understand ourselves and each other, oh, Whew. So, I mean, this is what we're doing in Family in Focus when we get to understand so much more about the concerns that any parent has about their kids, whether it is about weight, about the kid's mental health, or any other concern. How often are you worried and folks tell you not to worry? I mean, that was kind of like 50% of my pediatric training was telling parents not to worry. No. How often are you told, well, the kids don't look sick, or they don't look like they've crossed some threshold to, be of concern or to have a diagnosis? My friends, that's just comparing our worries to others, to other problems in the world, to whether or not you meet some kind of threshold to now worry. There is no grading or comparison. Your worries are your worries. They deserve to be understood without assumptions and without comparison to others. And our kids deserve this as well. But it's when we get to start with our own, to understand where we're coming from, how it's so important to feel and to understand that. In another very timely example, all of these things are happening right now in the world. And as I've started telling the story, my family just recently received word that my husband is being stationed to the other side of the world. This was not expected. It was not something that was welcome. And I have honestly been grieving for the last, my gosh, 10 days. Others, my friends, my acquaintances are trying to compare to big world problems, like this is not a big deal, or to try to make me feel better by telling me that there's nothing to grieve because we're going to be stationed on an island paradise. That comparison is not legit when I see myself in a paradise right now. I'm near family. I'm working with families who are experiencing a different form of connection for the first time. We're doing this in person in the office. We're talking about emotions and school expulsions and juvenile detention. And these are the ingredients to my paradise right now. It doesn't compare to an island. Yeah, I'm a very unique person. I get that. And I'm learning how to be a better mom to my kids and being open to whatever they're experiencing, as I'm realizing that it is truly all about the feelings. All of this parenting and health and just navigating this world and being more you. It's about the feelings. And the most important thing that we can do is connect to our own experience and connect with our kids and their experiences that they're having right now. Because whatever they're experiencing, that feeling that they're having, it's not the problem. Feelings never are. All right. Much love to you and your family. I'll see you again next week.